What up, flockers? In this video, we're gonna go over the 7 best apartment parrots that you can get. Now, if you find this really informative, please make sure you hit subscribe and like this video. It really helps me out, and let's get on with the video. Now, if you're watching this video, you probably live in an apartment or are going to live in an apartment, and you want a parrot that's very flexible with your current lifestyle. And as such, there's probably a few things you're gonna be looking for. First off, you're gonna want something small and compact that doesn't take up too much space, because in a small, cramped apartment, space is gonna be really precious. Second off, you also want a quiet parrot because you don't want to annoy your neighbors by being the neighbor with a loud pet next door. Now, whenever you hear people talking about noisy parrots, they generally don't mean the same thing because there's 2 different attributes that lead to noise. One is going to be the frequency of the parrot in terms of how often they're making noise, and second, it's going to be the loudness of the parrot. And that's the main thing you're going to want to be concerned yourself about, because that's what your neighbors are going to be hearing. So first up on this list is going to be poicephalous parrots. Poicephalous parrots are things like Senegal parrots, Myers parrots, red-bellied parrots. They're overall great pets, and a lot of people are probably looking at them already. What makes them great is I give them a frequency score of about 2, and I give them a loudness level of about 4. So overall, they're actually relatively quiet. They don't make sound that often, though they definitely can have their noisy bouts. But their loudness can get a little up there because they generally have a very high-pitched shrill they emit that can definitely leave your ears ringing. On top of that, they're still a medium-sized parrot, so you're still going to have a decent amount of space this parrot's going to take up. That's why it's on the last of this list, but they're still great apartment parrots overall. Next on this list are going to be Pinus parrots. Pinus parrots I also rave a lot on this channel, and they are definitely larger than poicephalous, so a downfall is they're going to take up a lot more space than a poicephalous or other parrots on this list. But I give them a frequency score of 1 and a loudness score of 4. They rarely make noise. I have a male Pinus, and males are generally the noisy birds, and he rarely makes a sound. You won't even know he's there. I mean, he's here right now, and he's just chilling. He is just really quiet. Now, definitely, the few times he makes sounds, he can get loud, and it's because he is a larger, medium-sized parrot. So that is something to keep in mind. But it's so rare your neighbors probably won't mind. And they're just such cute, cuddly pets overall. I love Pinus. They're great birds. And as you can see, I do live in an apartment setting myself. So next up on this list is going to be Lovebirds. Lovebirds are great for apartments because of their incredibly small size. They're colorful. Lots of people really love Lovebirds. However, Lovebirds, I give them a frequency of 3 and a loudness of 3. They definitely chatter, and they definitely chatter up a storm. Now, if you like the sound, it's pretty pleasant, but they can definitely get loud despite being such a small size. They have a very loud shrill to them, and that is something you need to keep in mind if you do have very thin walls and insulation. With how frequent a lovebird is being loud, and they still have a decent amount of loudness to them, you may have to consider if you do have a good spot for a lovebird or not. With a lovebird, you'll definitely have to reconsider if your neighbors can handle it or not, or if you can put the lovebird in a section of your house that's a lot more insulated so the sound doesn't travel through the apartment walls. Following up on lovebirds is going to be Cockatiels. Cockatiels are incredibly popular parrots. You've seen them everywhere, and tons of apartment owners own pet cockatiels. I own a cockatiel, and even a close friend of mine owns a couple cockatiels in their apartment with paper-thin walls, and it works out pretty well for them. Overall, I give them a frequency score of 2 and a loudness score of 3. They can have their little loud bouts, and they emit a high-pitched squeal, but generally higher frequencies don't penetrate walls as easily as others, and with how infrequent cockatiels have noisy bouts, you're probably okay. Now, they are larger than very small parrots, so they'll take up a little bit more space than some other really small parrots like lovebirds, but overall they're pretty space efficient, and they're great for apartments. Now, next up on this list is going to be green-cheeked conures. Green-cheeked conures are amazing pets, and they're really great for apartment settings and families, and they're all around, in my personal opinion, one of the best pet parrots you can own. They are like a small medium size, and being a more of a high energy conure, You're definitely going to need a larger cage space compared to some other really tiny parrots like a lovebird, but they're relatively quiet. I give them a frequency score of 2. Occasionally have their loud bouts, and I give them a loudness of 3. Despite their small size, they can definitely still emit a high-pitched shrill, and that may or may not penetrate walls, but overall they're pretty quiet, and you will probably be able to get away with a green cheek conure in an apartment setting. The next up we got Budgies. Budgies are really popular, you see them everywhere, tons of pet stores have them. They're really awesome because they are really impressively small, and they have a nice color to them. They are definitely little chatterboxes, and with that I give them a frequency of 3. They definitely will have their little noisy bouts, but they're so small, their loudness score, I give them a 1. They're really, really quiet. For how small they are and everything, you can totally get away with a chatty budgie inside an apartment setting, and your neighbor will probably never know you have a pet bird. On top of that, being small, they're going to be really space efficient, and they will snuggle up perfectly right inside your apartment. So that's why budgies are great apartment parrots, and they're number 2 on this list. Alright, and number 1 on this list is going to be parrotlets. Parrotlets are so awesome because they are the world's smallest parrot that you can own as a pet, and that makes them so cool. I give them a frequency of about 2 and a loudness level of 1, so they're overall great for an apartment setting. I mean, you can't get any more space efficient and any more quiet than a parrotlet. And then you pair that with their big personalities, and they are just a ball of fun. Parrotlets are also awesome because they come in all kinds of different colors, so you gotta check it out and pick out which one you want. And with that, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!